So skijoring is you have a horse rider, a horse, and a skier. The rider's obviously riding the horse, and they're pulling a skier through obstacles on like a timed course in single heats. The skiers are going through gates and over obstacles. In the lower division, the jumps are a lot smaller. The gates are a little bit easier, so it kind of gives you like into what exactly skijoring is. And then as you move up in the divisions, like coming up to the open division, a lot of the events that you go to, the open skiers are jumping over trucks or they're jumping over a hot tub filled with people and through fire. And the jumps are a lot bigger and it gets a little bit more fast and a little bit more crazy. It's super awesome. It's a really cool community about it. How I got into skijoring, my parents had a house down in Driggs, Idaho. I'm originally from Washington State. And we go to Driggs, Idaho in the wintertime, and I would watch this crazy sport. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. I love skiing. I love horses. I love going fast. I've got to try. But I didn't. I just kind of chickened out and never did it. And then 6 years ago, I finally was like, okay, I really, really want to get into this sport. I went to, it was actually here in Big Sky, Montana. I went to a registration and I said, hey, I want to SKIJOR. And everyone's like, well, can you ski? And I said, yeah, I can ski, but I want to ride a horse. And this one gal said, hey, I will let you ride my horse if you also ski behind me. And I said, all right, I'll do it. So we signed up. That first event, I skied 4 times and then I got to ride the horse twice. And while skiing was super fun, once you got going, it was terrifying because you're going so fast. And I was like, oh gosh, this is a little too fast for me. But riding the horse, that was my favorite part, going fast, the crowd going wild, steering the horse across the track. I just like instantly fell in love and I was hooked ever since then.
Cool. So you said like when you first start getting into it, like let's say like a kid's getting into it or someone is new to the sport, is there like do they start off with like slower horses, or like is there any like I don't know, I guess like beginner type of work that goes into it?
Yeah, so a lot of the events, it's getting a lot of the events. I want to say almost all of the events have a juniors or a peewees division. And so that's like, I think the youngest we've seen out there was a 3-year-old. And then there's usually a kid under the age of 12 or 18 riding a horse, or they have an adult, and they're usually going at a nice little walk. But those kids are brave because they'll be going at a walk and you can hear, like, you'll be in the spectator stand or you'll be at that start gate and you hear the kid yelling at the rider, go faster, go faster. So that's how a lot of the kids get involved. They go to that first event. I know there's a couple places in the Montana area where they will do practices. So if like the little kids want to get involved, they get to go to this practice. A lot of this, like I do a little practice in Big Sky. We just kind of all get together and go. But for like the beginners, novice is the best event to go in, especially if you're older than between 12 and 16, because that's kind of where they cut off the juniors. But novice is like you're slower. Usually the horse rider hasn't done it before, the skier hasn't. So they're both kind of just like learning together on what to do. And that's how a lot of people like initially get their first teams formed when they start in that beginner division.
And I'd assume there's a little less fear when you're 3 years old or whatever into going into it.
Oh yeah, totally. They're brave. They're just like they want to go as fast as they possibly can, and they're wild. And I'm very impressed by those little kids when they're out there. It's so cool to watch.
Where do you compete, like across the country or in Montana in general? And do you train year round?
So I travel, when I say all over the country, it's Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. Those are like the 4 states I go to. And then I'm in the open division, like the professional division, if you will. So I don't really have to like do the ski joring practice, but there's a lot of people in the Big Sky area that want to learn how to ski or they have their horse. So I'll bring my horse to show everyone how to do it. And I'll also give like tips to the skiers and whatnot. But I also work at a dude ranch here in Big Sky. So my horse is working year round. She's going on trail rides when she's not ski joring, and that's helping her build that muscle and keep that muscle. And then like towards the fall and spring when snow's on the ground, I'll just like, it's basically an excuse for me to go run my horse. I'll go take her down the snow and just let her gallop, and we'll do like 30-second heats and then stopping her and whatnot just to get her legs back under her for the snow again.
So what's the scoring like? Like how do you like win or whatnot? Or is there different events in it?
So the scoring, it's the fastest time and the cleanest run. So the skiers have to go through gates, and it's right on red. So on a red gate, they have to go to the right of it, and on a blue gate, they have to go to the left of it. If they miss a gate, it's like a 5-second penalty. It depends on what race. Every race is a little bit different. They also have to go over jumps. If they miss a jump, they also like get docked down points. And then I think it's like a 3-person team. It's the horse, the rider, the skier. I feel like the skier has the harder job, but the skier will say the horses have, like us riders have the hardest job. But as the rider, we talk to our skier before we go. Our skier is going to tell us where we really need to accelerate with our horse and where we need to kind of pull them back so they can hit those tricky and difficult gates. So it's basically the fastest time and the cleanest run. So a run with no penalties and the fastest time is how you win it.
I mean, I feel like I could assume the answer to this, but are injuries really common in the sport, or is it not too common, or how?
It happens. It definitely, like, I don't want to give a statistic, but just like with any professional sport or any like horseback riding or skiing, like things do happen. Um, it's we try to make it everything as safe as possible, but sometimes that skier catches an edge, and they go down, but we try to keep it as safe as we can.
And what breed of horse do you use, or what breed of horse is like kind of like the typical horse that they use in like the professional division?
So it seems to be a little like mixed up. I have an off the track thoroughbred, and then there's a lot of other thoroughbreds in there. There's also a lot of quarter horses. So it kind of just depends on who you are as a person. I personally think thoroughbreds are the best horse ever, but you could talk to another competitor and they swear by their quarter horses. So it's just that's kind of what you see in those upper divisions. But like all throughout ski joring, you see some like draft horses, some like ponies. You get some gaited horses. So there's a huge spectrum, but at that topper division, it's like quarter horses and thoroughbreds, or the appendix quarter horse, which is a thoroughbred quarter horse cross.
So it really is just like personal preference, you'd say.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
What went into and how did it feel being named like the face of ski joring in 2023?
I was a little shocked. I was shocked because I was surprised. I was shocked, but like in a really good way. When I first started getting into ski joring, I really didn't know a lot of people, and I just kind of felt like I was a fly on the wall. And the second I started getting well known, it was because of the outfit I was wearing. It was the entire American flag stuff. People saw me. I stood out like a sore thumb in the best way possible. And then I got to start meeting everyone. And then people who were new to the sport, since you see me a lot, started coming to me and asking me advice. And I didn't want anyone to feel like how I did when I was just a fly on the wall at the first couple events. So I was just like super friendly, talking to everyone, and then I like just make a point to try to be as nice as possible to everyone in the competition. And but yeah, it was kind of like an honor. I was pretty stoked about that. I was such a new sport, and I got named the face of it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So I saw it was in the Olympics in like the 1920s or something like that. Do you hope to see a return one day?
Oh yeah, I think honestly, like what's cooler than a skier and a horseback rider? So you got a cowboy and just like a skier, and they're working together, and that's like the most American thing you could possibly do. I would love to see it come back to the Olympics. Like that would be so cool if we got it back in there.
And tell me a little bit about this event that's coming up in the coming weeks. What people can expect to see there. What it's all about.
So the Big Sky event is coming up on the February 7th, 8th, and 9th. On Friday, we're having the beginners. So it's novice and snowboard light. So they're all competing against each other on Friday. It's going to be cool because it's not as stressful for them. They have more time to like get composed and get together. And you're going to be watching like the new people get into it. So Friday will be a really fun day just to watch that. The top 3 people in snowboard light and novice are going to be entered into the Saturday and Sunday event. Novice is going into sport, and then snowboard light will go into snowboard pro. So that's going to be super cool seeing those people get that chance to move up. The Big Sky event's one of my favorite events, not just because I live here. It's just super fun. Like there's a huge crowd. There's a lot of vendors. During like the Skijoring event, we do course walks, we make sure the track's safe. So there's some downtime in between divisions. But what Big Sky did is they brought in these snowmobilers doing tricks. So that's going to help like have the spectators watching the snowmobiles do jumps over the track. And it gets the crowd like really entertained and into it. The cool thing is a lot of us competitors, after we run or before we run, we'll kind of like wander throughout the crowd and hang out, and we'll watch the event. So if anyone's there and they see someone that's competing and you have any questions, just come up to any of us. Like, we love our sport and we love telling people about it. But it's like, how I got into skijoring was strictly a spectator, and my adrenaline was pumping. My heart was racing just watching them go down that track. It's going to be an awesome event. And like, if you're around, you definitely have to come check it out.
Wasn't last year's event like canceled because there wasn't enough snow? Or am I mixing things up?
We didn't have enough snow, but this awesome business in Big Sky Rent Biz, they hauled snow from anywhere they could find it in the Big Sky area. So thanks to them, like, they were able to make a course, but it was for a little bit, we were a little iffy. We weren't sure if it was going to go, but we pulled it off. And with what they did, with how little snow we did, it was awesome. Like, you couldn't even tell that we were running on like borrowed snow. They pulled it off though. But I know there's been sometimes in the past, like when an event gets canceled because there's not enough snow, it's such a bummer because these organizers it's not just like 2 months before the event they're putting this on. They're working year round, like trying to put on the best event they possibly can. So when they have to cancel it, it's heartbreaking for everyone. But no, they were able to pull it together last year.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Anything else about the event? Anything in general about skijoring?
So the reason why I've been doing skijoring as long as I can, and I've been missing work just so I can skijor, is because it's like a huge community. It's a huge family. And every time you go to an event, you're seeing like another family member, if you will. They're your biggest fans. They're your biggest support. So even if I'm trying to beat someone and they just ran, I'm still at that start line, like cheering them on. And when they come back, they're cheering me on. If one of us ran and there's like a spot in the snow we didn't like to put our horses, or there was something weird about a gate, like the skiers are giving the other skiers advice, the horse riders giving other horse riders advice. Like, it's just so amazing how nice everyone is to each other. No one's trying to sabotage each other. They like just everyone wants everyone to win, but we can't. And then when we go to awards, and even if you didn't get the place you wanted and someone else did, you're still up there screaming, cheering them on and like clapping your hands. And then I guess like the other thing is, these horses that do this sport love it. This is like their favorite thing ever. The second they get into that start gate, they're dancing, they're prancing, they're ready to rock. And when they're also waiting to go, like my horse personally, Little Bo Peep, she's staring at the start line and she's watching the horse and she's watching him go down the course. And I always like wonder if she's like studying like how she needs to run or where she needs to put her feet. But like, I guess I would love to just say like the horses love the sport maybe more than we do. And the community is like one of a kind. And if anyone wants to get into skijoring, like, this is the best community to be a part of. It's awesome.
And just one more question. What was the name of your horse again? So I could spell it out. And
yeah, it's a Little Bo Peep.
Little and then Bo.
Yeah, B-O and then Peep. Like the Disney and the nursery rhyme. We all call her Bo, but her full name's Little Bo Peep.